Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Mek Wi Talk program here on WZPP and WZOP, the voice of the Caribbean. That's having some little technical difficulties on the YouTube channel. We do apologize for that. This afternoon, we're going to speak about the border dispute between Venezuela and Guyana. We reach out to the Venezuelan Consul General here in Miami, and apparently they're supposed to get in contact with us, but they haven't got back in contact with us as yet. So we're just gonna go along with what we have so far in what is going on with the border dispute between Venezuela and Guyana. It is. I hope it don't turn out into something that we don't want it to turn out into. You have other um, people, other countries around the Caribbean who are speaking about it. But yesterday, before I get to my friend on the line here with us, who's gonna speak some more about it because he has a history about what is going on between Venezuela and Guyana. Before we get to that, let us listen to what the Venezuelan President Ali said in a press conference yesterday afternoon into this morning, and what is going on between Venezuela and Guyana. It's an old dispute, an old border dispute from the 18th century. I'm pretty much sure that's how long that has been going on, and it's still going on here now. But what we need to really ask for, let there be a peaceful discussion pertaining to this. It cannot be that we have our sister island and another country or another island, another country rather, that is, you know, in other words, we can't continue fighting like this. And I see wherein they said that the president of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro, has ordered the state oil company and other companies to start see if they can get some natural gas and oil from the property that is under scrutiny or under discussion with the two countries. The Grenada, or Guyana rather, took Venezuela to the International Court of Justice, and the International Court of Justice said to them, listen, hold your horses there. But of course, Venezuela decide not to. I have with me on the line today a caller who always calls into this program, who is aware of this situation, and he said he will come on. But before we bring him on, let us listen to what the Venezuelan president said to the Venezuelan people. Not the Venezuelan president, rather. The Guyanese president said to the people of Guyana. And this morning you heard that they have ramped up their security forces. They have ramped up their security forces within Guyana. And they say they will protect their borders in Guyana. And let us listen to what they're saying. This is what the president is saying.
In relation to the unlawful claim by Venezuela to Guyana's Essequibo region, which constitutes more than two-thirds of Guyana's national territory. Tonight, President Maduro announced several measures which his government intends to take in enforcing the outcome of the referendum held on December 3rd, 2023. As I made clear from the date the referendum was first announced, this is a direct threat to Guyana's territorial integrity, sovereignty, and political independence, and in violation of fundamental principles of international law enshrined in the UN and OS charters. The measures announced are in blatant disregard of the order given by the International Court of Justice, on December 1st, 2023. Guyana views this as an imminent threat to its territorial integrity and will intensify precautionary measures to safeguard its territory. I have tonight spoken to the Secretary General of the United Nations and several leaders, alerting them of these dangerous developments and the desperate actions of President Maduro that fly in the face of international law and constitute a grave threat to international peace and security. Also, Guyana will tomorrow bring this matter to the United Nations Security Council for appropriate action to be taken by that body. Further, we've engaged CARICOM, the OAS, the Commonwealth, and many of our bilateral partners, including the United States of America, Brazil, the United Kingdom, and France. The Guyana Defense Force is on full alert and has engaged its military counterparts, including the U.S. Southern Command. By defying the court, Venezuela has rejected international law, the rule of law generally, fundamental justice and morality, and the preservation of international peace and security. They have literally declared themselves an outlaw nation. Nothing they do, however, will stop Guyana from proceeding with a case in the ICJ or stop the ICJ from ultimately issuing its final judgment on the merits of the case.
You know, when you hear, you can hear the passion in the president of Guyana's voice. And is it that Maduro is, saying to other countries or saying to other countries within the CARICOM region that listen to me, man, no talk to me. Me had it done over here. Sir. Is that what he's saying? We have online here with us. Good afternoon, my good friend. How you doing?
Yes, good afternoon.
Yes.
Pretty well, thank you. First of all,
Mm-hmm.
the, let's not read into the rhetoric um, from either side, but mainly coming from Guyana. Guyana increased its self-confidence
Hold on for me.
Venezuela.
Hold on for me. You're breaking up. We can hardly hear you. You're going in and out.
Yeah, can you hear me better now?
Yes, loud and clear. Go ahead now.
Okay, right. So essentially, Guyana has taken a very aggressive position. But I'm going to look at the chronology of events, the historical events. First of all, demarcating national borders in the Americas, meaning the entire America,
Mm-hmm.
began in the 1900s, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is essentially the 19th century.
Yes.
Now, there was a dispute that was brought about between Venezuela and then the then British colonial Guyana,
Right.
who controlled the territory. Now, there was a dispute in 1840, 41,
Mm-hmm.
right? That agreement had given the United Kingdom control uh, over the Essequibo region, go
Right.
all the way up to the Essequibo,
Yes.
and it allowed Venezuela um, just on the mouth of the Orinoco River, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, the British Guyana wasn't down. No, okay. This, of course, agreement came as a result of the sale of Guyana, which was controlled by the Dutch, the Netherlands. Because
Mm-hmm.
you have to remember what we're talking about
Mm-hmm.
is areas in the Americas that were essentially captured
Mm-hmm.
from the indigenous people by the colonizers. So
Yes.
all of these, the French, the British, the Portuguese, the Dutch, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So all of these players. So this is where it's coming from.
Mm-hmm.
Now, um, Guyana, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the, I think it was in the 1890s,
Yes. 1899.
right? About in the, yes, the Guyana expressed her disagreement over that territory
Mm-hmm.
and how it was done back in the, back in the 1841.
Yes.
And at this time now,
Mm-hmm.
the emergence of a new power who was supposed to be an anti-imperialist power. So in other words, it was the Americans now
Yes.
who professed that they are against colonialism, against, the European powers practicing colonialism in the Americas.
Mm-hmm.
So now the Venezuelans and the Americans became very friends.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, uh, so the Venezuelans asked the Americans to press on the British Empire that this agreement is unjust,
Mm-hmm.
and we want you to use the Monroe Doctrine to push back against the British. What is the Monroe Doctrine? The Monroe Doctrine essentially said that this is American backyard and no imperialist powers can come down here and have sway down here anymore. That is what and that America had the right to intervene in her backyard. You
So,
understand?
so
The
what you're
British
saying,
and the Americans.
so what you're saying to me this afternoon is that back in the days, um, Venezuela approached the Americans pertaining to the region that they want from Venezuela, from Ghana.
Yes, from Guyana. Yes,
Yes.
the disputed because it has always you have to legally regard it as disputed territory.
So,
No,
so, so in other words,
no,
nobody
this
owned the
is
territory then.
well. The fact that the territory is not agreed on because the other party feels agreed that it was not justly settled by the British that because of the British strength and whatnot, Venezuela's interest
Mm-hmm.
was not properly um, taken into account.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the United States, by the way, interestingly, the U.S. encouraged uh, Venezuela to go to arbitration. Let's have and the UK that they should arbitrate
So, so, so,
the
so
dispute.
you're right. So hold on for me now. But Guyana took Venezuela to the International Court of Justice.
Don't come there yet. We don't reach there yet.
But we don't have enough
We're
time. So,
dealing. Remember now,
but we don't have
all
enough
of
time.
this started
Right.
as a British um, colony
Yes.
against Venezuela, which was then a sovereign country.
Mm-hmm.
So now the Americans, this is it, we're talking about the 1800s now, the 1890s. The Americans press upon Venezuela and the UK, the
Mm-hmm.
British Empire, because they were playing hardball, because
Mm-hmm.
they were in the upper hand. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Them are empire. So then kind of tell a little country what to do or whatever. This is where you go and get me, I get this. So the Americans who now supposed to champion all of that freedom and so on and so forth, um, told Venezuela and the British, let's arbitrate. Arbitrate is a way where you sit down and you come to a mutually beneficial agreement.
Mm-hmm.
That's arbitration. So they had that. There was a treaty. They agreed on a treaty in 1897. The British and the Venezuelans to settle the dispute.
Mm-hmm.
However, the dispute again, as I said, it ended up where um, the British then get the region, which is in question now,
Mm-hmm.
that Venezuela is contesting, the Essequibo region.
Yes.
And so the British, the Guyana, so, because Venezuela have other things going on, the issue never came back up again until 1962.
Mm-hmm.
The Venezuelan government told the United Nations that we don't recognize those agreements and it was unjust, and so on and so forth. And we want to revisit the issue,
Is it is
right?
is it because Venezuela realized that there's a lot of natural gas and oil there?
You mean Venezuela? Well, Venezuela had always known, yes, that you would have had geological studies
Yes.
on most of the part of the earth. There's what them have geological studies from the 1800, from the 16th century, from the 15th century. So they
Mm-hmm.
know what minerals are in these places. Just in Haiti, Haiti have deposits is by according to geologists of more oil than Venezuela. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So there is a it also comes to a context of resource. So now when the Maduro administration,
Mm-hmm.
what has brought the urgency, why this issue has come back up lightning rod,
Mm-hmm.
in there, and they have had little agreements where they work together, Guyana and Venezuela. However, the start the Starbrook, I hope I'm pronouncing the name properly,
Yes.
area where Guyana found, where it started to prospect for oil and found a windfall of oil, they start to have increasing. This is now in the 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
They start to have problems. Now, there's another aspect of it. There's a geopolitical aspect to this also.
Yes.
That the United States, and of course, the U.S. is a big oil juggernaut with all the big Exxon Mobil and all,
Mm-hmm.
so on and so forth. They have been very hostile to the Venezuelan government of Chavez, now Maduro, and so on. So the Americans who were traditionally backers of Venezuelan oil industry, because America used to be big in the oil industry in Venezuela
Mm-hmm.
before they have a fallout and sanctions and all that. So the Americans have now pivoted to Guyana.
Mm-hmm.
So that has made it more toxic. You hear Guyana say, "Oh, they're gonna bring America and they might bring this and that against Venezuela and so on and so forth." So it's no longer where they would work together and so on. So Venezuela now made
We're losing you.
nation.
We're losing you. Don't move from where you are.
Yeah, can
We're
you
going
hear?
to. Yes. Go
Can you
ahead.
hear me now?
Yes. Go ahead.
The Venezuelans now have made a move to tell the United Nations that they are going to have a referendum, which they did with
Mm-hmm.
their people to decide whether um, the people of Venezuela should fully recognize their right to specify for region. Understand? That's what that referendum was all about in Venezuela.
Yeah. But
So in other words, you're showing that you have the consent of your people. That's all a referendum is,
But but
right?
uh,
A
but but hold on
binding.
there for me now. I don't think President Maduro got the consent of the people pertaining to the whole border dispute between Guyana and them.
Well, based on their tabulations that they have put out, they said 50% pass the measure. You
Yes.
understand? And but you have to also remember this has been this is a centuries old claim. This is not a Maduro thing.
I know.
Venezuela has always so Carlos Andres Perez and all of them. But you have to also look at context too. That Venezuela has always been very neighborly and very supportive to all the CARICOM countries,
Yes.
including Guyana. So that the Venezuelan has never stationed troops on the border. It is not that kind of thing. It's a dispute. But I told you, it has become toxic because there are other players with vast commercial interest in oil in Guyana. And
Mm.
you know about the sanctions and the whole
Well,
geopolitical thing with the BRICS and
the
so on.
sanction. Hold on there. The sanction that the American put on Venezuela. But
Right.
couple about a month or two ago, the Biden administration went into Venezuela and asked that they'll start buying oil from them.
What is happening? This is what you have cut off Russia. Russia was a major. oil supply. They've embargoed them.
Mm-hmm.
So they went back now and tweaked the sanction, just
Mm-hmm.
lift it a little, not at a full lift, and to allow American companies that are owed billions of dollars, oil companies that is, by the Venezuelan government. So to allow these companies to get the oil for the money that Venezuela owes them.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Because Venezuela wasn't able to earn very much, even though they were still supplying oil to like alternative to China, which they owe a lot of money to, and China takes the oil for the money, right? So this is a whole geopolitical, economic warfare going on, you know. And of course, we're in a very volatile region, the Americas. So what is happening? Of course, the Venezuelans are going to leverage their position. However, the Venezuelans are a little untrustworthy about the impartiality of the United Nations to adjudicate this matter. So that is what has compounded the sort of high energy tension that is around. But I do not foresee Venezuela um, invading the unsettled parts of Guyana, the Essequibo region.
Yes.
You know, I mean, you're gonna hear a lot of rhetoric on both sides, I would imagine.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that based on the historical
Mm-hmm.
precedent that we have seen from the Venezuelans, and Venezuela is not a warlike country or a warlike
But
people. You know,
when you sit down and listen to what is going on in Venezuela, between Venezuela and Guyana, it reminds you of the Cuban and Ukraine crisis that is going on
and
now.
you mean the Russia
Yes,
Ukraine crisis?
Russia
Well,
and
it's a
Ukraine
different.
rather.
Again, it's a large geopolitical
I
thing
understand. Yes,
between superpowers.
yes.
Yeah, but you should also remember this, Jeffrey, that you know which other player has a claim within the same border demarcation.
Mm.
Guess which other country?
Who?
Brazil.
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 Oh, so that
You
so
know that Brazil border Venezuela and
yes,
Guyana.
yes, I know,
Yes,
and that is why
yes. Well, there's an
the Venezuelan, no, the Venezuelan, the Guyana president is calling on Brazil in a sense. We're gonna take a quick break in a couple of minutes. We're speaking about the border dispute between Venezuela and Guyana. Is it that we're gonna have some, we reach out to the consul general here in Miami, and we didn't get an answer from them pertaining to coming onto the program. We'll be right back here in the
and
Mek Wi Talk program. We'll be right back.
you
We'll be
can
right back.
also
We'll take a commercial break.
yeah.
LPFM.
You keep on talking about Keith Clark. I'm just want to say, if he never in a business, me not talk about Mr. Clark no more. His
You
nephew
know
is
what?
Nigel
No, no,
Clark.
no, 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 hold on, Pete. Hold on, Coach. You know why I talk about Kika? Because I'm to me, or you member of my family.
And Jeffrey, me agree.
Hold
But
on.
if Nigel Clark not care
That is
how
Nigel business.
Rocky them could have killed him father by linking him with the Tivoli strongman. Me look George and spend no time on that. It
No,
means
but the
them all form a
hold
big
on,
boy
coach.
club and them will sacrifice somebody.
The
And I'm not
people
going to
of
be the sacrifice.
the people of this country must know that the Prime Minister of Jamaica hugging up members of the military because he has an agenda.
If you actually believe in the people of Jamaica, you wouldn't get rid of the political ombudsman office so that nobody know that they are watching on a little theft-free and Jamaicans allow you to abolish the office of the political ombudsman after Donna Brown.
You call the word so found like everything.
No,
Let me
yeah,
stop with the post.
I look here. I want to sound elegant, articulate. Leave me alone. The fact of the matter, there's a lot that people now look on in a Jeffrey. The office of the political ombudsman, the Jamaica Labour Party have successfully closed that door. If you
and the question must be asked, of the Prime Minister. Why you choose to close it down? What are you hiding, Prime Minister?
Yes, this is what I'm saying. Why only watch the people them literally pull the veil of democracy from us? And we still believe that them guys are really going to render we the verdict that we want to see a better Jamaica for all Jamaica. Look.
There will be no local government elections held this year. Let me make it absolutely clear to everyone. And certainly, there will be no local government election held until I am satisfied that Jamaica is on the right trajectory for vaccination.
But that act did not do what it's supposed to do in terms of preserving.
The government of Jamaica gave away 30-something acres of land to the Chinese government because the Chinese government own Czech Republic, what the hell one call the construction company. The government of Jamaica gave away 34.
It's 30-something plus.
30-something plus acres of land. Beachfront land to the Chinese construction company in Jamaica. Both the PNP and the JLP selling out Jamaica. No better barrel, no better herring. Dr. Taylor, continue and tell the people who just joined us about the land when they give it to the Chinese government. The 34-something acre land.
So that's why we're saying that if the government, which in its latest presentation, the Holiness Administration basically says all Jamaicans must have access to its beaches.
Hey, we're living in a world that...
Welcome back to the Mek Wi Talk program here in WZBP and WZOP. We're speaking about the border dispute between Venezuela and Guyana. Good afternoon again, my good friend. Welcome back to the program. Yeah. We have to wrap up that long segment of it and come to the point now where the International Court of Justice is saying to Venezuela, do not do anything out of the way. And yet Venezuela now is, asking oil companies in their country to start dig for oil and natural gas.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, a country have the will whether or not to accept the ruling of whether it's the World Court or whoever.
Mm-hmm.
Just like there are many decisions taken at the World Court that the U.S. just said no, we're not going with it, we don't agree with it. So a country in its exercise.
I know, and right, that they have a right to act, to accept or not to accept.
Yeah.
So what is
it? We shouldn't. First of all, we should ease down on the bombasticness of the Guyana government that making this all of bombastic statements and all of that. Venezuela is your neighbor. 20 million Venezuelans live over there. You don't even have a million people living in your territory. So behave yourself.
Yeah, but
Need
no,
to go that way.
but with all fairness,
Take out the tension out of it.
right, but with all fairness,
Yeah.
President Maduro is the one who I think is putting on the tension.
The man is acting in the interest of his own country. It's
By
a,
by by by, by
and listen,
sending hold on there. By sending oil companies in that region to go and dig.
but that's the same thing Guyana did. Remember, those talks have been ongoing for a while.
Okay.
It's been it and why Guyana so again the geopolitics.
Mhm.
After they took out Venezuelan oil from the market, the US needed to have um, additional supply of oil, right? Because the embargo, they used to buy Russian oil too. So they had to get more to keep the price of oil relatively stable. So you know that the oil issue is a big issue in this country about paying all the money for gas. You understand? So with when the disputed area, they used to cooperate Guyana and Venezuela to allow certain things to go on. But now it has reached that crescendo because Guyana, the company, the multinationals have accelerated their oil prospecting and drilling in the disputed areas.
Yes.
And I mentioned the Sackbrook area block,
Mhm.
which is where they're bringing a lot of the oil from, is lies within the disputed area that that Venezuela is contesting.
Mhm.
So what needs to be done is that good faith effort on both sides need to tackle this issue. But
I, I,
this is
I,
not an unusual situation.
I want you to listen to what the Foreign Affairs Minister and CARICOM Minister of Trinidad, Foreign Affairs and CARICOM Minister of Trinidad and Tobago said in a news conference earlier on today. This is what he said pertaining to the whole issue that is going on between Venezuela and Guyana. CARICOM Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, Dr. Amra Brown, said Trinidad and Tobago cannot intervene in Guyana and Venezuela border dispute.
Country is currently in. Would you consider TNT an ally to Venezuela?
Trinidad and Tobago's position is identical to the position of the Caribbean community, and our position is reflected in CARICOM's statement. We can anticipate another statement, which is in draft at this stage. I've been very disturbed by some voices coming from the opposition in this country. Any calls for Trinidad and Tobago to insert itself into the controversy in the form of mediation or direct negotiation is in direct contradiction, a direct violation of the policy of Guyana, sovereign member of CARICOM, on this dispute. So those are very ill-founded calls and only serve to distract as opposed to contributing to a progressive environment.
Wouldn't you say that CARICOM right now is between a rock and a hard place in the sense of Venezuela has
No,
helped. Hold on,
no.
hold on. Venezuela has helped a lot of Caribbean countries when it comes on to oil. Although the main Caribbean country that is a CARICOM country that is supposed to be leading the Caribbean, Jamaica, has separate ties with Venezuela. Your views on that?
Okay. Okay. As far as CARICOM, again, this is a territorial dispute between two neighboring countries.
Yes.
We recognize that there are border issues that are still lingering in the Americas.
Mhm.
Chile and Bolivia. Bolivia's access was cut off to the sea, so they don't have them landlocked because of the war, a war in there from the colonial era,
Mhm.
and they are trying to do something on it. Do you know that Colombia, Panama was part of Colombia,
Mhm.
and it was taken away from Colombia? It's now an independent country. So these things go back, but specifically with Trinidad. And I'm glad you played that clip, even though it was terribly distorted. You
Yes.
don't need to test the phone and put it
No,
on.
hello. The
But
thing,
anyway,
listen to me. The thing came over
uh-huh.
from the Trinidad Broadcasting Corporation same way. It's not me.
Oh, it sounds bad. Well, not use it next time. But anyway, in Trinidad, I tend to be a little perfectionist, so forgive me.
Mhm.
But Trinidad, um, I don't know if you're aware that now Trinidad is trying to get natural gas. You know, Trinidad is a major natural gas
Yes, I know.
um, producer and
Mhm.
supplier to the United States. Now, there's you have to understand because of how these borders were drawn arbitrarily by the colonialists, just like how they put up African summits in a puzzle.
Yes. So hold on there. No.
So Venezuela,
Uh-huh.
Trinidad asked Venezuela to supply it to a particular area, um, and Venezuela has agreed.
Mhm.
So because Trinidad, needs that gas to supply it to perhaps its domestic thing so that it can export the rest of what it has. So they are corporations. Venezuela is not. I'm going to repeat it. Not because I've had a long association with Venezuela. I've worked with a Venezuelan company. They have treated me so well.
Mhm.
The people are fantastic. I've been to Caracas and so on, Maracaibo, and I have a pretty good trusty history. Don't forget,
Yeah, but
you know that
hold on
national
there.
stadium,
No, hold on. You're giving me a long history, and I asked a specific question.
yeah,
Do you think What do you think that Jamaica will do? Because at one point, Jamaica was the boss of the Caribbean in the sense they come and ask Jamaica questions pertaining to certain things. You hear nothing out of
right.
Jamaica more pertaining to the whole border dispute between Venezuela and
Well,
Guyana. So what is
the
hold on.
the wholeness administration is hostile to Venezuela in
Mhm.
keeping with the Trump administration's position. You forget that is when um, the wholeness administration broke relations with and recognized the usurping illegal brethren um, as president of Venezuela and not the Venezuelan government. The Jamaican government expropriated the oil company interest of Venezuela, who had invested millions in the oil company out there. So we're not expecting anything different.
Mhm.
And Jamaica is of no importance in that whole issue either.
Why?
You know,
Jamaica is a part
um,
of CARICOM.
yeah, but and listen, and don't forget, it was Venezuelans who forgave Jamaica billions of dollars of US dollars in oil debt that
Yes,
allowed Jamaica to wipe off a substantial amount of its debt.
right.
So, but Jamaica is irrelevant. Jamaica is irrelevant. I
No.
don't care
Hold
whether
on,
they say, uh-huh.
hold on. You believe that Jamaica is irrelevant? In a way, it is not irrelevant because
But it
Jamaica.
is because
Hold on, no, man. I
uh,
allow you to talk
go ahead.
because
Sorry.
Jamaica is a part of CARICOM. Okay, and I would love to get the views of Jamaica pertaining to the Venezuela and Guyana border dispute. And I know the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade is in Washington, D.C., along with the Prime Minister. And I think I'm going to ask my producers here.
What?
Hold on for me. I'm going to ask my producers
Yeah.
here to call the Jamaican embassy in Washington and find out if we can get a comment from the Prime Minister or the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade. Because what is going on now? A lot of foreign ministers are giving their comment. Jamaica is calling upon.
Yeah. Well, if you emphasize that Jamaica is supposedly a member of CARICOM, and
Supposedly,
CARICOM has put, yeah, but hold on, yeah, because Jamaica is one of the countries that mash up CARICOM. You didn't know that.
but don't go down that road.
That
Don't go.
continues that the Holness administration. He went and just discarded the CARICOM government as if they were trash,
Yes,
even though they have been very nice to Jamaica.
yes.
But anyway, but what I'm saying, so if the CARICOM has already put out their position, they are, siding with Guyana, and that's fine. And they have put out their position. No, so I would imagine that that is the position of Jamaica. But what I am saying, because Jamaica has undermined CARICOM and acted by its own self and disregard CARICOM, I am saying Jamaica is of no importance to this ongoing situation with Guyana and Venezuela border dispute.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have to chat it out to death. It is what it is. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
We reach out to the Guyanese Consul General here in Miami for a
yeah,
comment. They said that they were gonna call us back. We haven't heard back from them, but we're
yeah.
gonna try and see if we can get a comment from the Consul General here in Miami. We're
Yeah.
also gonna
He's
reach out.
probably there.
Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Go ahead.
No,
No, go ahead.
okay. We're also gonna reach out to the Jamaican ambassador, or the embassy rather, in Washington to get a comment from the Jamaican Prime Minister, the Most Honorable Andrew Michael Holness, who is in Washington at the moment. We're going to reach out to them and find out if, get a comment from them pertaining to this border
You're not
dispute.
flying up.
Pardon me?
You're not flying up to Washington to cover the
Why
diaspora.
should I fly up to Washington? You're paying for it?
So no.
You paying for it?
And you work for a big organization, man.
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
It takes money
But
to make them
anyway.
it takes money to make them your gal up.
Yeah. Well, but yeah. And as I said, we don't want to exaggerate the dispute.
It is not
I mean,
exaggerating. It is not exaggerating. I think the Guyanese government is feeling threatened by Caracas.
yeah, but I think that's overreaction.
Why
Because
you believe it's
the
overreaction?
Chinese government is well aware that the U.S. they are in military cooperation with them and all
Yes.
kind of stuff. So that's all of that is a geopolitical, um, you know, sounding off. I mean,
Uh,
they need to responsibly
mhm,
sit down and negotiate,
mhm,
get impartial parties who can look
mhm.
some kind of arbitration, look at the issue. Right now, Venezuelans don't feel that the United Nations is an impartial player because the United Nations, obviously, is controlled by the WHO. So
Who is the United Nations
that
controlled
is
by?
an issue. Huh?
Who is the United
By the
Nations?
big powers, exercise extra power over the United Nations. The
Mhm.
United Nations is not an independent actor. Come on, man. So so maybe they don't feel that they will get a fair hearing and a non-prejudicial outcome. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So, but this is something that we as human beings, the earth get messed up. A lot of the colonialists make a lot of mess.
Mhm.
There are, that there are territorial disputes in Africa also
I know,
because it was
no,
such a and,
I know that. But we're not going to that end. We're
okay.
sitting here in the Caribbean because
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I believe, in my honest opinion, there's a crisis growing in the Caribbean between Venezuela and Grenada and Guyana. That's my belief.
I wouldn't. Well, I don't see it as intense. It's an issue. It's a real issue.
Mhm.
It's a centuries-old issue that needs to have a conclusive outcome.
Mhm.
That's there's no question about that. And I think that Venezuela is a rational state,
Yes.
and Guyana, that they can come to it. But take out all of the geopolitical, you know, gerrymandering and grandstanding and all of that out of it, and seriously look at the reality of the situation, the historical reality also of the situation, and come to a conclusive, amicable solution. I mean, we can do it. We don't need to bring the hyperbolic thing. We're going to get army, this and all of that. That's not necessary. No, nobody's going to have a war over thing. Venezuela is not. That's not from
So,
what
hold
I've
on.
read.
It seems as if you're speaking on behalf of the Venezuelan government.
No, I'm speaking as an observer who is looking at all the geopolitics involved, the
So
historical
okay, let me ask you a
ramifications.
question then. Do
Yeah.
you believe that there should be a talk? You believe that CARICOM should have formulate a group to have a talk between
Input.
right, between Venezuela
Well,
and Guyana?
um, yes, CARICOM can have a role. I mean, they are historical neighbors. Guyana, even though it's more out in the South American tip, is part historically because of slavery and the whole colonialism aspect of it. So yes, we do have, goodwill, but I think you can't overtalk CARICOM strength. CARICOM, this region is essentially controlled by the big powers.
Yeah, I agree with
U.S.,
that. I agree with that.
France,
I
and
agree with
so
that.
on, and Canada.
I agree with that. But what
So,
I'm
so
saying,
I don't like to talk fantasies. So, I could come here and say, boy, yes, CARICOM, this, that. But I know in practice that poor CARICOM always defer to the big bad wolves in the region. That's a
okay,
fact.
okay,
That's a,
hold
that's
on
a
there
fact of
then.
reality.
Hold on there then. Do you believe that the United States of America then should
Mhm.
call for both countries to sit at the table and talk about this?
Absolutely, because that was the role of the United States prior to the 2000 when they had their break with Venezuela administration.
Mm.
So yeah, of course, that's the way to go. More consultation. And, I remember I spoke about the treaty, the arbitration treaty between Venezuela and the UK, which was the dominant political force in the region.
Mhm.
And they arrived at a law that was an arbitration agreement that was later renounced further down in the 1962 by the Venezuelans.
Mhm.
Because they felt they didn't get a good deal, they got a raw deal and so on and so forth.
Mhm.
So yes, of course,
Well,
talking is the way to go.
thank you very much
You know.
for coming on, my friend. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you for your indulgence, and it's my pleasure.
Yes, sir.
Have a wonderful
Have a
afternoon.
wonderful day to
Bye-bye.
you, sir. We are here, Venezuela, and Venezuela has helped the Caribbean nations a lot when it comes on to cheaper oil. And indeed, Jamaica has benefited from Venezuelan oil. And, when you see what is going on between Venezuela and Guyana, you ask the question, where does Jamaica stand in this? Where does Jamaica stand in this? And we would love to get a comment from both, or from the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, the Honorable Senator Camilla Johnson Smith, pertaining to what is going on now. Venezuela has a big army. Of course, they have a big, strong army. And the Guyanese have to depend on their little army with the American army. Because I think the Guyanese president said that he has contacted Southcom, the American military department that is in charge of the Caribbean region. And we pray and hope that it don't reach to where the two countries is throwing gunfight at each other, bombs at each other over just a little oil. We're all gonna go home and leave it there. So let us see what is gonna happen. Let us see if there's gonna be a peaceful end to all of this. It is right in our backyard in the Caribbean here. And the Caribbean people must take a look at this. They must take a look at what is going on between the two nations. And I pray and hope that they will come to an end with all of this that is going on. We reach out to the Consul General here in Miami for Guyana, and they promised to call us back. They haven't done that. They haven't done so. We're going to reach out to the Jamaican embassy, the Jamaican embassy in Washington, D.C., where the Prime Minister of Jamaica and the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade is in Washington. We're going to reach out to them and ask for a comment pertaining to the recent development where the president of Guyana is saying that the military is on high alert. And when you hear the military is on high alert, you have to say to yourself, is this going to happen in the Caribbean? Is this really going to happen in the Caribbean? I hope not. This is WZPP and WZOP, the voice of the Caribbean, the Mek Wi Talk program here in South Florida. Just a reminder to all the viewers and all those are out there who's listening to us. Tomorrow evening at 7 p.m., the Mek Wi Talk program on YouTube will be having a forum, a diaspora forum. And we're going to look on what is going on in Jamaica. That's the Mek Wi Talk program on YouTube. The Mek Wi Talk Jeffrey Tavares YouTube channel will be having a diaspora forum. Consists of myself, Wilfred Radigan, Wayne Lonesome, Herb Nelson Jr., a member of the Jamaican diaspora here in South Florida, and other distinguished guests is going to come on. We're going to speak about what is going on in the land of wood and water. What is the feeling of the members of the Jamaican community here in the diaspora here? What is their views on what is going on in the land of wood and water? How can we assist to stem Jamaica's crime pandemic? How can we assist to stem the rampant corruption and cronyism and nepotism that is going on in the country? So we're going to have a forum on that tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. live on the Mek Wi Talk Jeffrey Tavares YouTube channel. So remember to join us then. Until you hear my voice again, I am Jeffrey Tavares saying thank you all for listening and thank you all for joining us. And may God bless you all. Remember to like, share, and subscribe.
When the game gets rough, and this life just seems so tough. Mek Wi Talk, my people, Mek Wi Talk. When this town becomes an ugly place, don't let it erase the smile from your face. Mek Wi Talk, people, Mek Wi Talk. Conversation is the